Hello and welcome to Health Options. I am Rabi Abdullah. Health Options is the program that not only tracks government's policies on health, but helps you to make informed choices about your health. Water therapy involves drinking 1.5 liters, that is 4 to 5 glasses of pure drinking water as soon as you wake up in the morning. As water makes up about 3/4 of our body composition, it is clear that it plays a vital role in all our bodily functions. Hence, the need for constant replenishment of your body's water reserves. We shall tell you how practicing water therapy is a complete toxin cleansing therapy that can help you keep diseases at bay and lose weight, along with a host of other health benefits on today's Nature's Corner. The World Health Organization, WHO, Director General's recent remarks on COVID-19 emphasized that all countries must strike a fine balance between protecting health, minimizing economic and social disruption, and respecting human rights. Access to effective contraception is one of the most cost-effective interventions to reduce maternal mortality through preventing unintended pregnancy, thereby protecting an individual's physical and mental health. And it is important for people to be able to continue to access contraceptive information and services during the outbreak. Ensuring that people have access to the contraceptive services they need also reduces avoidable pressure on the health system to manage the consequences of unintended pregnancy. Our policy track segment is focusing on issues revolving around women's reproductive health, such as access to contraception in COVID-19. Thanks for joining us on the program. You will get to meet my guest shortly. This is Health Options, and we are taking a look at family planning in COVID-19 as we discuss women's reproductive health. And with me in the studio to discuss the issue is the first Vice President, Society of Gynecology and Obstetrics of Nigeria, and Project Director, Partnership for Advocacy in Child and Family Health, Dr. Habib Sadauki. Welcome to Health Options, Dr. Sadauki.
Thank you very much for having me.
Okay, let's start with this now. We would like you to tell us those things that guarantee women's reproductive health and the ones that compromise it.
Right. The first thing that guarantees women's reproductive health right is equity from childhood. Girls and boys should have equal access to services. They should have the necessary protection, especially the girl child. We know what is happening in this country. There's rampant cases of rape. We require to protect, the girl from, those harmful practices. We also need to provide them access to good healthcare services throughout their life, and access to education, in particular the girl child. The girl child needs to be educated so that she's empowered to access those rights. And also specific health issues, the maternal health issue in particular. Before pregnancy, the mother should be prepared to go undergo pregnancy. So she should have access to where she can have care before she's prepared for pregnancy. She should have good care during pregnancy and good care at time of delivery. And then, of course, after the delivery. Now, fundamentally, one important thing is the family planning. It's important that women have right to decide the number of children they want to have, and at what frequency, and at what interval. But we know that having children too early risks the mother's life. Having too many children also risks the mother's life.
One is too early.
One is too early if you are below 18, below 16, and you're not fully grown, and you start pregnancy. Without good care, they tend to have a lot of complications. One particular complication that is very common in young ages, the issue of eclampsia. That is the convulsion they have during pregnancy, especially late pregnancy and during the time of delivery. Also, they need to, there must be spacing between children, between your deliveries, because that ensures that the mother is fully recovered between the pregnancies. Similarly, having pregnancies too late can jeopardize the health of the mother. At that time, when she's elderly, she's 45, she's 40, 45, other health conditions have begun to show up. And with the pregnancy, they get more complications. So that is why family planning is very, very important. Of course, having too many children has its own economic importance. It has the economic impact. If you look at the situation we are in now, you're looking after too many children, especially in this pandemic period of turn down of our economy. Yeah. We can see that it's going to be very difficult. It will be much easier if you have enough to manage, enough within your resources that you can manage. So women must have access to to family planning to prevent them from getting unplanned and unwanted pregnancy. Because unplanned and unwanted pregnancy end up with unsafe abortions, and they increase the risk of the mother for dying or acquiring serious complications that may jeopardize their life. Similarly, you want family planning so that you can have adequate spacing between the children. Now, what are those things that compromise lack of equity? Social factors, economic factors that are denied the girl child especially. She's not allowed to go to school, so therefore she's not empowered. Resources are not controlled by her. She has no right in decision making. All this compromise her rights in terms of reproductive health. Because of that, she will now have to live in a marriage and continue to have children. Whether she wants the pregnancy or not, she will continue to have pregnancies. She will have too many children. There will be no spacing between them. And then, of course, she will have children even in her late age. So these are things that compromise.
Which invariably takes toll on her health.
To have a strong toll in her health, because when you have too early, when you start very early, it means you will have many. When you start with that interval, it means you will have many, because the frequency is high. And when you also get into the old age, of course, your health, even without pregnancy, has some complications associated with it.
Okay. Yeah. I'm sure you're aware of the WHO guideline, or recently released on all of that. It harps on, reproductive health, on the need for nations to be on their toes to ensure that women's reproductive health, maternal health, is upswing, even in the face of COVID-19. Yeah. How would you relate it to what is happening in our country?
Well, you see, we must understand that the pandemic brought a lot of issues related to health. In Nigeria, it exposes the weakness of our health system. Because suddenly with the pandemic, we found that every attention was on COVID. And people, especially women, did not have access to services because the services literally went down. Some hospitals were closed down, and therefore they become isolation centers. And this is why women were accessing care before. So they cannot access care if they're pregnant. They cannot access care if they are delivering. And that will mean complications. Even if they have other complications associated with the pregnancy or COVID, it's not easy to access the care. So the first thing was that our health system, was exposed. It was weak. We needed to address those issues, because if you have an emergency, you cannot get care because hospitals are not working. The lockdown meant people cannot even move out freely. So a woman who is in labor with a lockdown will not find transport to get to the hospital. It became very difficult. So all these are issues that came along with the COVID and made it very difficult for women to access care. Of course, most normal clinics that are run ordinarily closed down, and one of them is family planning. Family planning clinics literally closed down because people are not coming out to work. And what does that mean? With the lockdown, with no access to family planning, it means unwanted pregnancies, unplanned pregnancies. So we will not be surprised if 3 months down the line,
And
6
rape
months
was
down the line.
also, on the surge too.
Yes, it was
We
on the
had
side. Rape
several
became
cases,
more rampant, and of course there are a lot of unwanted pregnancies and unplanned pregnancies. So down the line, you will find there will be an increase in our rate of termination of pregnancies. And some of them could be done unsafely, and that will mean jeopardizing the health of the mother for future pregnancies or even her own life completely. Now, the other thing is, when you go further down to the next 9 months, our hospitals are going to be flooded with people who are trying to deliver. And unless we take care and we revert the shut down hospital to function normally, then it will mean these women may not have the right care that they deserve during delivery, to deliver safely and to deliver alive and have a live child. So this is something that we should begin to anticipate that they will come.
Were hospitals actually totally shut down?
A lot of us, during the shutdown in most states, hospitals were already shut down because health workers are not going to work. They're not going to work. They were afraid to go out themselves. Transport system was shut down because nobody was allowed to go out. So public transport became very difficult, and therefore people just stayed at home. They have no access to care. A lot of pregnancies now, I'm sure if you were to do the statistics, you see a huge increase in the number of pregnancies that will have occurred during this period. And there will be a period when they will abort. There will be a period when there will be delivery. And care must be provided during this time. So, otherwise, complications are going to come up.
So what should we be doing?
We should be planning for that. We know that pregnancies have taken place, and we should now be preparing to ensure that our maternity homes are functioning fully. They have the providers are there, and the wherewithal to work with are also available so that women can have safe delivery. Otherwise, we'll see a surge in our maternal mortality rate. Yes, come next year, if we do the statistics, you'll see a surge in the maternal mortality.
I actually come across a study that is even already talking about that there's an increase in Nigeria's maternal mortality rate.
It's not
the indices have not been palatable all along, but it's really getting worse from, studies I've come across recently.
That is correct.
So,
and we're going to expect a surge if we don't take care of the anticipated number of pregnancies and improve our maternity services. Is going to be a problem.
Okay, taking responsibility now, or trying to mitigate this, the impact of what is happening, what COVID-19 had brought upon. As you know, it has affected all aspect of life.
Yes.
Just like the ones you just highlighted now. What should we do?
One issue which is very important is the budget.
Okay.
The budget is affected by COVID. Our source of income, with the sales of the crude oil, has gone down, and it's affected our budget significantly. The budget has to be revised. And now what we have, the allocation we have for health has gone down. So therefore, the allocation for family planning will also go down. That will mean maybe next year, we may not have sufficient commodities required by women to protect themselves from unplanned pregnancies. And that again has another implication, because it's about pregnancy, and the more you have, the more pregnant women you have, the more the chances of getting complication, at the time of the pregnancy or at the time of the delivery. So these are issues that we really have to look at. Our funding for family planning is not as good as it used to be because of the current budget situation, and it has an implication in the terms of the supply of the commodities, and also in terms of reaching, especially the lower areas with commodities. Because you have to reach the hinterland. That's where most of the population is, the last mile. If you don't reach there, there are people who want, ordinarily, they don't want pregnancies. But they need access to family planning, and they have no access to family planning. And because of that, they tend to have, the pregnancy that they have is unplanned for, it's unwanted. And then you have those complications coming up. So we need to really look at it carefully, especially states that do not pay a lot of attention to family planning. I think it's very important that we wake up and do the necessary things to ensure that women who desire family planning have access to them.
Okay, I know that there have been issues revolving whether to call it family planning or child spacing or someone being told to about the number of children he or she can have. Is it really about that child spacing or quality population or quantity?
Well, you see, this to me, they are semantics. Family planning is family planning. What are we saying? You want to space your children? That's family planning. You want to say, I want to delay my getting pregnant because I want education? That is family planning. You want to say, I'm age 35, I don't want to have any more babies because of my health. I'm diabetic, I'm hypertensive. All this will complicate. If I get pregnant, I'll get more complications. That is family planning. So calling it child spacing is not all-encompassing. The family planning is all-encompassing in the sense that it's not just you're trying to space your children. It is that you don't want too many children. It is that you don't want to start too early. It is that you don't want to go having pregnancies too late. So it's family planning is a broader term. But whether you call it family planning or child spacing, the fundamental thing is that women should have the right, they should have the choice to say, I don't want too many children, and they should have access to family planning. I should have access to methods that will stop me from getting unplanned pregnancies. Okay. Similarly, you can say, I don't want to start pregnancy early because I want to go to school. Because pregnancies do not go very well with education. If you want to go through secondary school, institution,
one has to give way to the other.
You have to give way to the other. Okay. Yes, you can't go about having children and also going to school to become an engineer or to become a famous broadcaster. It will be very difficult.
Anyway, there are those who had pulled
very
through
few,
it
very
anyway.
Few. No, very few. Yes, this is not saying that it's not impossible. It is, but it's very difficult usually. Yeah. So it is better that you get your education, then you begin your family, and then you have your children.
Okay, on a final note now, in view of the times we're in, what would you say when you had already made some projection in view of, the truncating of some of these services brought about by COVID-19?
I think it is time to rethink. We have first of all discovered that our health system is very weak when the COVID came. All attention was there and everything shut down. So we now have to improve on our facilities, employ more providers, because the few providers that were available were all full to COVID, and the rest of the wards and clinics were left fallow. So we need to improve on the providers. We need in particular to pay attention to maternity homes, ensure that they have the right supply, they have the trained providers to provide services, because we are in for an increased delivery rate because of what has happened. And if we don't address the issue now, we'll be in for a higher level of maternal mortality because complications will arise.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Habib Sadauki, for coming on Health Options.
Thank you very much for having me.
Do you know that water has an amazing detoxifying effect on you, as it easily flushes out toxins and maintains the pH balance of the body? More on this on our Nature Scanner as we take you through the benefits of water therapy.
Water has its metabolic functions. Number one is that water actually is part of our blood, and the red blood cells, because they are also composed or made up of water. When there is dehydration, that is lack of water, the red blood cells will now come together, they clog and cannot move freely. That inability to move freely enables them to stick against the vascular wall, that is the blood, and then interferes with the flow of blood. Once there is interference with flow of blood, then the pressure increases. So when we drink enough water, our cells, our red blood cells are hydrated, and you can see in some simple cases of elevated blood pressure, you see that if you take enough water, it will just relieve you. That is one benefit of water. Water is also very important in cleaning the kidneys. Most of the toxins, the kidneys is the center of filtration. So this is actually done with water. And once that is done, the toxins are actually removed. So we say that water is very important for what we call glomerular filtration rate. It improves it. That is the filtration of toxins and then the retention of essentials. If you are so stressed, you take water, you see that the stress will also go down. Water also enhances our immune system, that is immunomodulation. One of the key components of immune system is what we call the lymphatic drainage. So if you take enough water, those lymphatic drainage is actually enhanced, and then you have free flow of the immune cells from one part to the other. So that's what you say, it enhances the immune system. One of the ways even we get rid of free radicals in our body is conversion of the free radicals ultimately to water, which the cell we use, or it can be excreted out. Urea, for one, there have been clinical cases of where people came in with very high BUN, what you call blood urea nitrogen, and it is very high. But through water therapy, we were able to lower this, especially the alkaline water, the structured water. I'm talking about the alkaline water. Let me also emphasize here, good water that we take for our health must have three properties. The water must be alkaline, that is alkaline within the right range. It shouldn't be over alkaline, and it should not be acidic, but the right range. Then such water also must be structured. Where do we find structured water in nature? Our spring, the spring water. And that's what, even one of the reasons why people say the ocean water is kind of, it has some spiritual healing, is because it comes out of, a spring. The spring water is a source of structured water. We used to have places, in Jos, the Sherry Hills, and even the Hankeri Game Reserve. That water that comes out of those springs is actually, structured and very, healthy. It is advisable that we should take warm water. With warm water, the body doesn't have to expend, energy trying to bring it to that temperature of the body where it will work best. It is very important for us to have a clean digestive system, because we know 80% of our immune system is actually dependent on the gut. So if you have a clean gut, your immune system will be upregulated. It is generally recommended that we should take about 2 to 3 liters of water. So let's go for 3. So we're saying that 1.5 liters should be taken in the morning. How do I know how to take 1.5 liters of water that has been recommended for in the morning? For the purpose of practical reasons, if you take 4 to 5 glasses of water, it represents 1.5 liters. If you take enough water, it actually lubricates the skin of our own body. It causes smoothing, it makes it shining. And this is what we say, that water therapy has the benefit of anti-aging. What do I mean by anti-aging? If you take enough water, because your skin is well, your body is well hydrated, your cells are bloated out and very nice, your skin will look, smooth and shiny. This is anti-aging. So good amount of water is also part of, the anti-aging therapy. How do I know that I'm taking enough amount of water, or my body has enough water? The best way to actually monitor is from the color of the urine. Urine that it is amber straw color is actually shows an evidence, or can easily be interpreted as dehydration. You are in a state of dehydration. So the first few urine might look straw colored, or amber color, but if you are taking enough water, you see that your urine color looks clear. It looks clear, and once you have attained that, you will know that you have taken enough water.
We hope to see you put what you have learned about water therapy into practice. It is on that note that we conclude this episode of Health Options. COVID-19 is still very much around, so keep observing the safety protocols. A quick reminder also that you can go to our YouTube channel to watch the upload of this and other episodes of the program. Email us for your comments and contributions at healthoptions@nta.gov.ng. My name is Rabi Abdullah. Thanks for watching. Hope to come your way again.